Welcome, good people of YouTube. I'm Isha Jindu, or Zinyati, soon to be Zimbabwe's top real estate agent, and all that. But we stay humble and we stay consistent. So, welcome back to another edition of Real Talk Real Estate, the place where I talk about all things practical real estate. So, if you have any real estate questions in mind, put them in the comments below. I'll get to them eventually. Continuing from last week, I gave you a brief introduction on the 3 phases of getting your property on the market. And on today's video, we'll be diving deep into that trend, discussing phase 1, pre-publication, the strategy room, getting you and your agent on the same page. So subscribe for real, like this video, share this video, and let's get into it. As a reminder to make sure we're all on the same page, if you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch my introduction video, which you can find here. But if you've already done that, let's get into it. Pre-publication. Pre-publication is essentially the planning and accountability stage between both you and your agent. You're both agreeing on the specific actions, responses, and activities that you're going to conduct during the sale of your property. There should never be a situation where something happens that both of you aren't aware of or haven't planned for. All in all, the main areas that pre-publication covers are these: property renovations and repairs, listing price and copywriting, and open house and private showing procedures. Kicking it off with number 1, property renovations and repairs. Now I already have a video covering all the essentials that you need to know about renovating your property, and you can watch that video over here. But at the end of the day, I'm not telling you to break the bank in order to get your home back into super pristine condition. Unless you want to, of course. What I am saying is that you as a property owner need to be aware of the fact that there are certain things that can work in your home's favor and certain things that can work against your home when it comes to its conditioning. As soon as prospective buyers and tenants come to your property, they'll look at it with a very keen eye for the things they like, the things they don't like, and most importantly, the things they don't like which can be used to lower the price. So any defects, flaws, a lack of interest in the property, them being the only person interested in putting up an offer, everything can be used against you, and equally everything good can be used to leverage your position. If lots of people want your property, or if that person who's looking at your property is really keen on getting it, real estate can be a fairly broken market. So prices tend to fluctuate according to assumptions and feelings more than logic and facts. So keep that in mind. Before you even think about getting any renovation done, I strongly encourage you to talk to your agent or a construction company about it in order to evaluate what renovations do bring in value and which renovations are completely useless. The last thing you want to do is waste your money doing something that won't even affect the price. As I said before, I have an entire video up on this. Go watch it. I'll be adding to it later on, but it's a good introduction into everything. Moving on to number 2, listing price and property copywriting. Probably the stage where you and your agent are going to butt heads the most, unfortunately, or because of one key thing, the price. Typically, when you're selling your home or renting it out, there are always 2 prices floating in the ether out there: the price you want and the price your agent recommends. Let's talk about it a bit. Regarding these 2 prices, in a perfect world, they'd be perfectly equal and perfectly balanced. The price you want and the price your agent recommends, all the same. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and more than often, the price you want is going to be significantly higher than the price your agent recommends. It's just the fact of the industry. You as the property homeowner tend to overvalue your baby just a little bit, and it's perfectly reasonable. You've spent a lot of time on this home, you've built this home, you've renovated this home. Obviously it should be priced more than what your agent wants, but it's usually not the case, because the new person who's coming to this property isn't going to be looking at it from a heritage perspective. They just want their home, they want it cheap, they don't want to blow the bank. But let me make it perfectly clear. The price you want for either your rental property or to sell your home is entirely up to you. Your agent can make recommendations and justify those recommendations, but at the end of the day, it's a decision you need to make. All I ask is that you have the patience to ask your agent why they priced it as they did, and to possibly put your price on a timer. If your home stays on the market with the price you set for over a long stretch of time, it's probably wise to already have the discussion on when to start price drops. For both you and your agent, selling your property for the best price is the number 1 goal. After that, we have your property's copywriting, which is something that doesn't really need a lot of effort and work to go in depth on. All I'll ask for you to consider is that at the end of the day, having more bedrooms in your home is probably better than having any specialty room. What I'm trying to get at is if your home is, say, 3 bedrooms, specifically bedrooms, but has maybe 1 or 2 studies or empty rooms, it's better to identify those on your home's copywriting, what's written about it on a multiple listing service like websites, brochures, etc. It's better to write it as these rooms being potentially other bedrooms than being seen as studies. More people want more bedrooms, but once they hear it's a study, it's a study. But if they hear it's a bedroom, they're more inclined to take it as a bedroom that can be converted into a study, a man cave, whatever you want it to be. For some reason, most of our imaginations allow us to change bedrooms into any other room we want, but we can't change any other room we want into a bedroom. Keep that in mind. And after getting all of that sorted, we move on to the final stage, open house and private showing procedures. The stage that's probably going to be the most invasive and the most dependent on what you do as a property owner. Your home has to be clean, your home has to be de-homed, and your home has to be empty. Allow me to explain. Number 1 or number 3A, your home has to be clean. You see, your property being clean for an open house isn't too difficult because you have it planned, you have it sorted, you know exactly when people are coming, so you can prepare. And I strongly encourage you to do it with a professional service, not saying you're dirty, just to get that extra polish, you know? But the problem tends to spike up when we're now talking about private showings. Private showings are probably 10 times better for both selling your property and renting your property than open houses because they signify proper intent, not just people or neighbors being bored on a Saturday wanting to come and look around your home. Though open houses can get you buyers, but all in all, private showings get you more serious people in total. The problem is you can't properly schedule private showings. If you're selling or renting your home and someone wants to come and see it right there and right now, whether you're eating dinner, you have guests over, or whatever, you need to let them come see the property. And you need to have the property cleaned and presentable as best as it can be. So while you have your property on the market, it's always good to just raise the standard of what your home usually looks like on a cleanliness perspective than what it normally would be. After that comes de-homing your home, or to be more specific, de-Uing your home. What I mean by that is that when people come to look at your property, they need to be able to properly envision themselves purchasing and living in the property more than they need to see how you lived in the property. You have your own specific tastes, they have their own specific tastes. The more of your personality sinks into the property, the less they can impose their own. That's why when properties come on the market, it's always good to have them set up in their boring neutral state. Neutral colors, not too much flashy furniture, not too many portraits of yourselves or anything that makes the home your home. The home needs to be turned into a house, a plain and simple house that anyone can imprint on. There's essentially a sweet spot for this. Too much stuff in your home, it's too personalized for you, it makes it harder for people to figure out how they would live in the property. Too little stuff, it's too empty, it's too desolate, then it becomes too overwhelming for the new property buyers to come and picture what they do with all that space. If you're in doubt or you're confused, talk to your agent about how to properly stage your property. It will be worth it. And for the last aspect of open house and private showing procedures, your home needs to be empty. Probably the most important aspect to this entire thing. Listen, you need to understand this core human nature of everyone who's most probably going to see your property. Irregardless of whether you believe it or not, most people are usually polite. And politeness is a negative when your home is on the market, especially for private showings and open houses. You need people to give you the harsh truths on what's wrong with your property. Are the colors too out there? Is the carpet not appealing? Are the cracks on the wall a bit too much? You need people to tell you these issues so that you can decide if you want to fix them yourself or leave them for the new owner to handle. But you just shouldn't be left aware of these issues until a serious buyer comes and uses them to deduct money from your price tag. And ultimately, if you, the owner, are in the property, the more likely prospective buyers and tenants are going to tell you the issues of your property. They'd feel way more comfortable talking about it with just your agent than with you being there and risk potentially offending you. So as respectfully as I can say it, get out of here, man. Some special note considerations that you should keep in mind for open houses and private showings, but specifically open houses, are security measures. PS, if it's important to you, it shouldn't be out in the open. As well as during these times, it's essential to lay it out how you're going to be conducting your open house. People need to come with masks, disinfectant, temperature taking, anything to make both you and prospective buyers and me as your agent safe. And that's pretty much it for everything you need to know about pre-publication. I'll probably release a more in-depth video on open houses, private showings, and potentially selling your home off the market later on. So subscribe for real, and be notified when that video comes out, or any videos that I release, because they just have so much value. But for now, I've been your host, Ishe Jindu Ozinyati. Subscribe for real, like this video, share this video, ishejindu@ivafrica.com. If you have any business inquiry, go and watch another video. I'll see you next time.